In this video, I'm going to list and explain the most fundamental practices of the Advaita path, or we could call it non-duality. This path is extremely simple, so it's very easy to present a video like this. But the power of Advaita lies exactly on this, that it is so simple. When I started the path towards awakening and eventually liberation, I became interested in yoga, and I ended up in a path that was a yogic path, and it was very complex. It has so many practices that you were supposed to do during the day, including more than an hour of meditation in the morning and at night, and multiple type of mantras and practices during the day. It was ineffective, because for a path to be really effective, it has to be simple. So at some point I drifted towards Advaita, and I realized that, hey, this is so simple, and it's easy, and it's effortless, and it doesn't create inner conflicts, and I began to get results almost immediately. While in the other path, despite great sincerity and intense work for 24 years, I would say that, at least at the level of the mind-body systems, there was a deterioration of mental health and physical health. And the progress that was done was little. So Advaita was life-saving here. Then what was the first practice that I encountered from this path? It was simply to accept. To accept what? Everything. Absolutely everything as it is. And I focused in this practice for years, and the results were really good. Mental health improved, peace increased, and how this practice works? It works in a very simple way. In the beginnings, you learn to accept what is, meaning the situations that are arising throughout the day. Whatever situation arises, you say yes to it. It's like the power of yes that Eckhart Tolle talks about. So, as I said, your focus in the beginning into the external situation that is coming to you, and that's good stuff. It's easy and it brings results. But at the same time, at some point you will begin to realize that you cannot accept everything. That the mind-body organism has its own resistances, which resistance, by the way, is suffering. And despite your best effort to encourage this body system to accept what is, you won't be able to really go into deep acceptance, and there will be resistance to what is. Frustration or negative emotion in one way or another. So what do? At that point, you begin to learn to accept the reactions in the mind-body organism, the internal reaction to the situations. So eventually you are accepting life entirely. The situations that life is presenting, as well as the reactions of your mind-body system to these situations. I'm putting a special emphasis to do not call the mind-body organism I, because it's not you. The reactions are not yours. The reactions are reactions of the mind-body organism, and they are not your reactions. And this makes much simpler also to accept the reactions of the mind-body organism. We need to understand that this mind-body system will never be perfect. It can improve, yes, by all means, and I will talk later about this, how to help the mind-body organism to evolve. You as consciousness, you are not evolving, okay? But the mind-body organism and the inner bodies are evolving. So, you're helping the mind-body organism to evolve, in fact, by teaching it to accept what is. When the mind-body organism cannot accept what is, you accept both the situation and the reaction. That brings, again, peace, no inner conflict. Just keep in mind that the mind-body organism is not supposed to be perfect. Keep improving it, but don't expect perfection from something that is inherently dualistic. Because the mind-body organism is dualistic. It's part of the world of duality. It's not like consciousness, which is that which is perceiving, is the perceiving through this mind-body organism that is non-dual, which is the real you. So the mind-body organism, of course, will always be dual. And in that dualism, it will never be perfect. So as you keep accepting situations and reactions, you begin to accept life as it is. And that brings great peace. So that's the first practice of Advaita. That's the foundation. Don't expect to go into higher practices until you have attained a certain mastery of the ability to accept. I mean, you can try, yes, but always when you fail to practice higher techniques or methods, come back to this one, to the foundation, and know that here, in this foundation, in accepting what is, you can find peace. And after all, liberation is peace under all circumstances. So you are finding already the goal. The second practice that I recommend you consider is learning to enter into inner meditation instantaneously. I have created videos about this. And to this purpose, you use a pointer. That pointer can be, for example, rest as awareness, rest as consciousness, rest as the field underneath all this, or simply underneath all this. A pointer is a command, a short command that you follow in order to enter in contact with your divine nature and to rest there. there are many pointers in non-duality or Advaita. They are extremely efficient and effective to point to the divine in you, to your true nature. So this practice is immensely helpful. But whenever you can't enter into this inner meditation, as you could call it, go back to the foundation. You go back to accept what is. If the mind is too agitated by whatever reason, don't keep fighting to go into consciousness, into resting as consciousness, because the mind wants attention, right? Wants your consciousness. Attention and consciousness are the same. You can say, I am conscious of this, or you can say, I am paying attention to this. So it's the same thing. Or I'm aware of this, right? Awareness, attention, and consciousness are the same very thing. So, this inner meditation that you can access instantaneously, it's a typical Advaita practice. In Advaita, you are not encouraged to sit and meditate in a cushion or in a chair, on a chair, morning and night, because the idea is to weave meditation into your everyday life, completely into your everyday life, so that comes a time that you're meditating all the time. That is a difficult goal, okay? You approach that by stages. It may take years. However, to do it is simple. To go there is simple. How long you will be there, you will see that it will be challenging to stay there for a long time. To do this practice, don't obsess with depth. It's not as important as length. You want to rest as open awareness, for example, as much as you can during the day. If it's imperfect, the resting, it doesn't matter. It's anyway very helpful and healing for the mind and the body, and it brings peace. Now, if you benefit from meditating morning and night, half an hour sitting down, by all means do that. Advaita is not a rigid structure of practices. Whatever helps you, please do it, right? In Advaita, you are treated as an adult. An adult knows what is helpful for him or her and leaves aside what is not useful. In many paths, you are in fact treated the opposite, like you were a child and that needs to be told what to do. You will not be treated like that in Advaita. There are no gurus in Advaita, actually. You are consciousness, you are the divine already. Right. Why do you need intermediaries? To go where? To yourself, where you are already. See, in the path of Advaita, there is no path, because you cannot insert a path. There is not enough distance between you and the divine to insert anything there. What you are is already what you are. Your true nature is already the divine. And still, the paradox is that there are practices, right? So that's why I'm sharing with you these words and this video. Resting as awareness, or resting as consciousness, or call it whatever way you want, leads to awakening. You want to attain awakening. Awakening is a revelation. It's a moment of insight and clarity that shows you something very, very simple, that actually you are awareness, and that you're not so and so, your name there, that you're not the body, you're not the mind, that you're not your story, that you're not anything, you're not a thing, because consciousness is not a thing. So you wake up to this realization that you were conditioned to believe a lie. A big lie, yeah? A lie that creates an immense amount of suffering. So you begin to drop all the conditioning around who you are, which is immense, because you saw in an instant what you are really. Yeah? That can be attained through a spiritual experience. You may get a mushroom and may happen, or a deep meditation or whatever, or just by grace a spiritual experience that comes spontaneously to you. Doesn't matter. Once the revelation is there, what really matters is to be consistent with the revelation after the revelation. Otherwise, it was just, like, oh, that was interesting, okay. So, I'm going to see if it happens again. And then you keep on chasing the same revelation over and over instead of adjusting your life to the revelation. Then the revelation doesn't have much effect, right? The adjusting your life to this revelation is a process that is called embodiment. It's not like awakening that is a moment. Embodiment requires new rules, requires new approaches, new concepts, new practices to some extent, although the two first practices that I have mentioned will continue into during the embodiment process. The practice of accepting what is and the practice of resting as consciousness. I have already been recording for too long, so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to create a part 2 about this video and the fundamental practices of Advaita. I hope this is helpful. Just go to the part number 2.